All right, class. First off, as always, good day. I'm glad you're here. So, today we're going to be looking at the end parts of the presidency. We're looking at the oath. We're going to look at what it says in the Constitution. And I'm breaking it down for you on the other side. Okay, so on one side we'll have what the Constitution says, and then the other side is basically broken down. What does it mean? And then we'll get to the designated survivor. Okay. So again, we'll analyze the oath of the president that they must take. We'll examine the significance of the presidential pardons. Some of you guys know about that. Some of you guys may not. And then we'll create an argument on who should pick the designated survivor. Now, some of you guys probably know what that is because you may have seen the TV show, but some of you guys may not, and that's okay. That's what we're here for, to learn about that kind of stuff. All right, so here is your warm-up picture. Okay. Now, as you see, there's two candidates, right? And they wrote some words on the wall. And amongst the words, there's another word inside of those. So, what do you think this artist is trying to say about when we pick a president? Which kind of candidate should we look out for? Okay. So, think about it. All right. Write down your response because we're moving on in three, two, one. All right, so Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution basically says that in order for the president elect to become officially the president, they have to take the oath or affirmation of office. And this is how it goes. They have to say, I, and then their name, do solemnly swear or affirm, depending on which they want, that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. Well, just the United States. So that's it. Once you say that, you're done. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Just a little fun little facts. George Washington, on his first inauguration address, he was still in Virginia. The inauguration was in Philadelphia. He was actually broke at the time and he had to borrow money to get to Philadelphia. So yeah, he had to borrow money to find a ride to Philadelphia and like find a place to stay up there and things like that. He had no money. So imagine that the first president on the first inauguration of our country basically not showing up because he's broke. He has no money. That would have been disastrous. John Quincy Adams, most presidents, they swear on the Bible. He swore on a law book because he felt you shouldn't swear on a Bible. Okay, hey, to each their own. Supposedly, Chester A. Arthur is the first president to end the end of the oath with "So help me God." Okay, other presidents that have been kind of credited with it too have been George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. Now, the thing is, there's not a consensus. Some people say, "Oh no, it was Washington, the first president to end his oath with "So help me God." You know, some people say, "No, it was Lincoln. Lincoln was the first one to say "So help me God." But a lot of it that I found says it was Chester A. Arthur, our 21st president. Now, Franklin Pierce, our 14th president, is the only president to say affirm and not swear. Because to him too, he felt that you shouldn't swear at all. Whatever. Now, thing is, in the inauguration, when the president gives his speech, we've had the longest by William Henry Harrison at 8,445 words, and it took him about an hour and 45 minutes to give this speech. Here's the funny thing: he gave this speech with no jacket, no coat, no gloves, no hat, right? But here's the kicker: the weather was rainy, windy, and cold. And he's out there basically in a shirt and like slacks getting rained on and giving this long speech. So, of course, he gets sick, he gets pneumonia, and a month later, he dies. So, he becomes the shortest term president we've had. So, like I said in class, um, if you ever have a speech teacher or any type of teacher or anybody says, "Oh, you can't die from giving a speech," you could be like, "President Harrison died from giving a speech." You won't be lying. It was pneumonia that killed him, but how'd he get it? From giving this long speech. The shortest speech was from George Washington, actually. It was his second inauguration when he won the second time. Um, his speech was 135 words, and it took less than 10 minutes. And I mean, everything I found said that it was about maybe 6, 7 minutes long. It was such a short amount of time that people were coming to hear him speak. And by the time those people in the back came, the people in the front were already leaving. And they're like, "Oh yeah, he's done. His speech is done." How long was it? Oh, maybe a couple minutes. Wasn't that long. And again, 135 words. Basically came out and said, "Hey, thank you for electing me. So let's go back to work. Let's get this thing done. Let's do this and that. All right, we're good. Awesome. Let's go back to work." And that was it. It was such a short speech. Okay. So this is section two, and then what you're going to be focusing is on the red lettering and the green words. Okay. So basically, the president has wartime powers. Now, if you look on the section two, the first paragraph, you don't see anything saying wartime powers. That's because it's not mentioned in the Constitution. But as commander in chief of our country, as president, he needs these powers to do his job as the commander in chief of the Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, la 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 la. So he needs this power. He needs to do what he needs to do in order to help us win whatever war it is. Uh, so that's what that first section says. Okay. This is the time, usually in war, when the president gets most of its power because, again, it doesn't say he can't do this, he can do that. It's just he's the commander in chief and he needs to do what he needs to during times of war. Okay. The second section basically says the president can pardon anyone for any crime except two of them. One is somebody who has been charged and found guilty of impeachment. The other one is treason. The president can't forgive somebody who's betrayed our country. So treason is not forgivable, but everything else is. You know, so murder, accessory, um, hit and run, whatever is forgiven. Okay. Now, like I've told students in the past, if you know somebody who is in jail for whatever reason, and the president, the current president is on his way out, like they lost the election, they're about to leave, that's a time to message them, send them an email, write them a letter saying, "Hey, so and so, is in jail for this and this and that. Um, could you pardon them, for their crimes?" The president gives thousands of pardons, so you may help them get out of jail. It doesn't hurt to try. The next section basically says that during the president's term, they have to report to Congress about how things are going in our country. This is known as a State of the Union address. It's usually given every January. And the president has to do this. They have to tell Congress how things are going and what the plan is and stuff like that. Now, the first two presidents, um, Washington and Adams, they went up to Congress and told them face to face. But from Jefferson to Taft, basically our third president all the way to our 27th president, um, they wrote a letter and they gave it to Congress and had somebody read it themselves instead of the president doing them going up there, you know. But since 1913, since Woodrow Wilson, up until now, the president has shown up and given the State of the Union address to Congress. Okay. Now, in the section in blue, it basically says that the president has the power in extreme cases to call a special session of Congress where both the House of Representatives and the Senate have to be there, have to show up. Okay. Now, this has been done during the Pearl Harbor bombing and during the September 11th attack. That was done like several days later. Um, the Pearl Harbor attack, President FDR asked Congress for a declaration of war. President Bush, for the 9/11 attack, basically just gave people an outline of what happened, what we know up to that point, who attacked us, and things like that. So, the other thing the president can do is just like I told you guys in class, the president, or should I say Congress, has breaks, like summer break, winter break, and things like that. Now, the thing is, the president can actually adjourn Congress early. He can say, you know what, guys, let's end 2 weeks early. You know, now, like I said to the other students here in class, if if I told you, hey, guess what, the people in charge of the school, stuff like that, said you guys get 2 weeks off to get you get out for summer or for winter break 2 weeks early, how would you guys react? And everyone who responded basically said, I'd be happy. I'd be like, heck yeah, thank you. And that's how Congress is. They're the same way. They're just like, all right, thanks, Mr. President. But there are some people, some senators and things like that, who basically go, you know what? Why is he doing this? What's his angle? Is he going to try to push some executive orders and we can't fight it and things like that? So it is what it is. Now, this thing called the designated survivor, this popped up more recently because I don't know if you guys ever heard of Guy Fawkes. He was a guy in England, like 500 some years ago, who wasn't pleased with Parliament, the English Congress, and decided to try to blow them up when they were all together. Um, Now, the thing is, in the United States, nobody thought about that for a while. But then it came up. What do we do if during an inauguration or during the State of Union address, somebody decides to destroy that building and kill everyone inside? That's where the designated survivor comes in. It's a secretary who is chosen by the president to stay behind at an undisclosed location, meaning they're safe away somewhere. Okay. Whenever there's a large gathering, when everyone from Congress and uh, other heads of the executive branch, Secretary of State, Secretary of Treasury, Secretary of Education, whoever, is all in one spot. Now, the earliest I can find of this mentioning of like just in case a disaster happens is the Presidential Succession Act of 1947. Okay. But you have to remember, why did they do that? Because at that time, we were in a Cold War with Russia. We were stockpiling nuclear weapons. They were stockpiling nuclear weapons. And the thought of a nuclear weapon being launched and killing everyone in Washington, during a State of the Union address or the inauguration really scared people and made them think, well, if the succession of line of people is all gone, who then is going to be the president? So that's why they hid one person away somewhere. Now, from 1947 until 1984, nobody really knew who the designated survivor was and things like that. Nobody had any idea. But starting in 1984, they announced it. They basically said, hey, this person is designated survivor, when the State of Union address happens or the inauguration happens. Um, and they, again, hide that person. Now, a student in class told me, well, what if they try to kill that person when people find out? Well, by the time the people find out, that person's already hidden. They're already tucked away somewhere. So they could try to kill them afterwards, but it won't matter. They're not the designated survivor anymore. Okay. So that's what it is. That's what it means. And still to this day, you can find out who it is. So, like right before the State of the Union address in this coming January, if you go to the government website, the whitehouse.org.gov, I mean, um, it should tell you this is the designated survivor. They won't tell you, of course, where they're at, but they'll tell you who they are. Now, here's my question to you. Do you think the designated survivor should be chosen by the people or the president? Because remember, the people choose the president, but also the people don't know these guys in the cabinet, the secretaries and things like that. But the president does. So what do you think? Should the people choose the president? No, sorry, the designated survivor, or should the president continue to pick that person? And then why do you believe that? Why do you think it should be the people? Or why do you think it should still be the president? So think about it. Write your response. The writing prompts on the bottom there for you. Okay. So once you got that down, um, you're done with this lesson. So hopefully you learned something new. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Okay. And with that being said, guys, you take care, you be safe, and I'll see you guys later. Okay.